Sky Perryman. I'm the president and CEO of Democracy Forward. Progress Texas is awesome. It is an essential element of my media diet every day. I love the up-to-date information as well as the spirit of hope that comes through with people fighting for progress in Texas.
It's Wednesday, February 18th, 2026, and this is the Progress Texas Daily Dispatch, rapid response on the breaking news stories Texas progressives need to know. I'm Chris Mosier. While there's already a silver lining in the midterm election in Ken Paxton's departure from the Texas Attorney General's office, I think it's instructive for all of us progressives to have a look at what we're up against in his potential replacement. The debate last night between the GOP candidates for AG in Dallas is striking in what these people are saying into microphones, into cameras, as an example of the depths of ugly to which the primary voting base of the Texas Republican Party has apparently sunk. Make no mistake, that's the audience here. All four of these candidates, Congressman Chip Roy, Paxton attorney Aaron Wrights, State Senator Mays Middleton, and to a slightly lesser degree, State Senator Joan Huffman, all stood there with promises to out Paxton. Eleanor Klibanoff, covering for the Texas Tribune, noting once again this conspicuous fixation on anti-Muslim rhetoric that seems to have been revived in the current absence of significant border crossings. Hey, they got to have somebody to hate, I guess. Aaron Wrights, in particular, is all in on this. He explicitly wants to go on a Muslim hunt across the Lone Star State, proposing the launch of what he calls a counter-jihad, using the AG's office to target Muslim civil rights groups and specific housing projects, a staggeringly blatant dispensation with the First Amendment, and really a new benchmark in Texas's long-established descent into state-sponsored xenophobia. All the candidates, especially Wrights, have come to see the role of the Attorney General not as an unbiased arbiter of the law for all Texans, but as a general in the conservative war on progressivism. As Wrights puts it, should he be elected AG, he wants to, quote, destroy the left, meaning, of course, a continuation of current federal trends seeking to weaponize the legal system against political dissent, characterizing those who disagree with the regime as domestic enemies of the state. Wrights wasn't satisfied in targeting Texas's small minority of Muslims. He also invoked Kwanzaa as a means to classify our black neighbors and their advocates as an element poisoning the state who need to be, quote, run out. I've included a link to watch this crazy-ass debate in the show notes. I think it's highly instructive, especially to anyone who's given way to the inter-party schism we've seen lately between Texas Democrats in regard to racial concerns. A great moment to take a hard look at what we're really up against this election year. These people have openly and enthusiastically embraced the hate and fear of the other as their primary political motivation. As always, it's important for us to keep in mind through all of this that the Texas Republican Party spends a lot of money on tracking the worst natures of their primary voters. And an ugly scene in Frisco targeting the Indian and Hindu communities seems to indicate their research might be right on the money. Sarah Bahari at the Dallas Morning News relates that Frisco has become the center of a volatile debate over legal immigration and national identity. Its Asian population, which has grown from about 2% to now a third of the city over the last quarter century, anchored by major cultural landmarks like the Caria City Hanuman Temple and a wave of corporate relocations, all reaching a breaking point at a recent city council meeting in Frisco that saw a wave of conservative speakers angrily decrying what they see as an Indian takeover. This is largely the source of the attacks we've seen from Governor Greg Abbott lately in regard to the H-1B visa program, which has brought a large number of Indian workers to Frisco. In addition to the racial and cultural fear overwhelming them, the opposition argues that this influx of foreign labor displaces American workers, while immigration experts and business leaders point out that we're talking about highly skilled professionals vital to maintaining Frisco's recent economic competitive rise. Governor Abbott has ordered public universities and state agencies to freeze new H-1B visa applications until May of next year, and Ken Paxton has announced investigations into 3 unnamed North Texas companies over their use of these visas. A lot of this sudden eruption of public hostility can again be attributed to conservative politicians and online influencers looking to encourage the xenophobic fear present in the population of Frisco, who apparently want the economic benefits but not the people who make it possible. Speaking of all this, Lisa Falkenberg at the Houston Chronicle asks a terrific question. With worms in the porridge and despair in their eyes, Why are we still detaining kids at Dilley? Too many of us appear to have tuned out of that story after the release of Liam Conejo Ramos a couple of weeks back. The horror at the Dilley Immigration Processing Center just outside of San Antonio continues unabated as lawyers and advocates warn that children there are still being fed worm-infested porridge, moldy food, and putrid water. Kids are begging for fruit while suffering from malnutrition. Some have begun expressing suicidal thoughts, the neglect extending into medical neglect. A 5-year-old with appendicitis was recently denied urgent care for hours, left to suffer in horrible pain before finally receiving surgery. All of this is still happening right now in defiance of the 1997 Flores settlement, which mandates humane detention conditions and limits child detention to 20 days. All of this happening within the walls of a for-profit prison. We are traumatizing blameless children with zero benefit to national security. We mustn't look away from Dilley, but we can note a minor victory against this nightmare. That massive ICE detention facility planned to be erected at Hutchins, Texas, and the southeastern reaches of the DFW Metroplex appears to be halted. WFAA reporting that the company that currently owns it has declared that, quote, they have not and will not enter into any agreement for the purchase or lease of any building to the Department of Homeland Security for use as a detention facility, unquote, further stating their solidarity with local Hutchins city officials, including Mayor Mario Vasquez, who had vigorously opposed this facility opening in their town. Referring back to the top and comments at the GOP AG's debate about destroying the left, that trial of a group of protesters in Fort Worth on terrorism charges under the assertion that they belong to Antifa has gotten off to a shaky start. Sam Levine at The Guardian writes that U.S. District Judge Mark Pittman, a Trump appointee, declared a mistrial yesterday during the jury selection phase, halting the proceedings after taking issue with the attire of defense attorney Marquetta Clayton, who was wearing a T-shirt featuring images of civil rights icons, including Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. and Shirley Chisholm underneath a blazer. Clayton had worn this shirt in court all day, but Judge Pittman waited to intervene until she had begun questioning the 75 potential jurors, arguing that the shirt sends a political message that could unfairly bias the jury by equating the defendant's actions with the civil rights movement. The mistrial means the trial will now start over with a completely new panel of potential jurors on Monday at 9 a.m. This case is important as the midterm elections approach in that it represents the first time the federal government has filed terrorism charges against what it calls Antifa, short for anti-fascist, which is not a defined entity, but rather an umbrella of left-leaning ideologies. The Trump administration has become obsessed with the idea of Antifa and has vowed to destroy it. Experts worried this case could set a dangerous precedent for prosecutors to bring criminal charges against protesters who demonstrate against ICE or anyone who dares to speak out against fascism. Our mission at Progress Texas is to improve and save Texans' lives by acting on our shared bold progressive values, and that starts with countering the billionaire and corporate-funded conservative disinformation machine. While we enjoy the support of hundreds of partners, chances are that you, dear listener, haven't joined the team yet. If you're a regular, please join the team right now, like sustaining monthly supporters William Bilyeu, Jessica Graves, and Tammy Foskey all have. Join them and us at progresstexas.org/donate right now. Early voting in the 2026 primary is underway now with impressive turnout numbers, especially for Democrats early on, and continues through Friday, February 27th. Election day is Tuesday, March 3rd. Runoffs are likely beyond that. See the show notes for a ballot form from the Texas Tribune that works with your home address to show who's running in the primary in which you choose to vote. All about voting in Texas can be found at govotetexas.org. Since the new year, Progress Texas has devoted coverage and advocacy to the issues you're passionate about, and like no other outlet, we've given you direct access to the candidates in the biggest races in the county, Texas legislative, statewide, and federal elections. Join us as we work to raise $14,000 in February. Whether you give $35, $100, or $500, any contribution brings us closer to our goal and ensures that Progress Texas can advance our Project 2026 plans, which include expansion of Spanish media and also our radio presence across Texas. That's the Progress Texas Daily Dispatch for this Wednesday, February 18, 2026. Links to all these original stories can be found in our show notes. Progress Texas is an independent, nonprofit, rapid response media organization. While campaigns come and go, we're the permanent home for progressive media and action in the Lone Star State. I'm Chris Mosier. Thanks so much for listening. Have a terrific day. We'll see you again tomorrow morning.